You are in luck, my friend. Oh, how I envy you, because you are about to watch a video version of a class I taught at the Mill Valley Public Library about how to avoid scams for the holiday season. Watch and learn. It'll be worth your time. Probably. All right. If you are indeed viewing this not during the holidays, then please disregard Santa. I'm not saying this Santa image was AI generated or anything, but you may notice his mouse doesn't actually seem to connect to anything, and he may have a very hard time scamming people considering the Matrix style code he's looking at is on the back of his monitor, but I'm not going to question his methods. Now, I am the Digital Services Librarian, but lately I've been calling myself the Digital Services Curmudgeon because I'm not exactly thrilled with a lot of what we're doing with technology these days and what direction it's going in. I grew up watching Star Trek The Next Generation, where the energy crisis had been solved, and what was wonderful is that people could do whatever interested them. They didn't really need to make a living. That was taken care of. And if you're interested in botany, you should just be a botanist. But I get the feeling we're not going to be heading in that direction, and any technological advances are going to be held in the hands of the ultra-rich, and everyone else suffers. And something I ask myself a lot is, really, this is what we're doing with our technology? To wit, we are starting to use technology to enhance the classic scamming techniques of phishing, vishing, and smishing. Now, those are fun words. Phishing, you're probably quite familiar with because our email inboxes are filled with junk trying to fool us into clicking on links and giving away all our personal information or giving someone access to an account. The vishing and smishing are clever little variations on this word. If you're phishing by doing it with text messages, or SMS, short message service, then you are smurfing. And if you're, actually that's another thing, but it's not what we're talking about. And if you do so with a voice call, you are vishing. You may have encountered this now classic sort of vish. You may get an unprompted call from tech support in something or other, and they have found a problem with your computer, but don't worry, they can help you through it. And I call this, hello, this is Microsoft. There's a problem with your Mac. You may notice the inherent contradiction there because Microsoft does not make Macs, Apple does. So someone might say, we've detected a problem with your Windows. You might say, I actually use a Mac. And they say, oh, yes, well, we service Macs too here at Microsoft. Look, real talk, everyone. No computer manufacturer or giant software company, especially Microsoft, will proactively call you on the phone to resolve some tech issue unknown to you. This is not a thing that happens. If you've tried to get a hold of anyone at Microsoft to help figure out your Windows problem, you may understand that that is just not realistic. That is the realm of fantasy. If you get one of these calls, it is almost 100% BS. Hang up immediately. Peace out of there. Why do we want to avoid these calls? Well, some dangers could include disclosing account names and passwords to these people, and that is all kinds of important accounts you might have from your email to your banking, and they can get a hold of those and then impersonate you and do all kinds of damage. You may be guided to nefarious websites. They may say, now, if you could just go to Microsoft.notreallymicrosoft.ru/scam and enter your credentials there, we can help fix your computer. And something real bad, allowing the scammer control of your system with quote-unquote remote support software. Yeah, if you just let me log into your computer, I can help you do these things you need to do, get these updates and get this malware off your system. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to root around in your computer, install bad software that might lock up all your files in encryption or any number of nefarious little things. Don't trust them. I mentioned I don't like some of the uses we're putting technology to, such as all these generative AI things. We can make faces and videos and even voice now. There's AI voice cloning that scammers can employ. It's a new spin, a new capability on a classic way of fooling you in one of these voice calls. Here's a tried and true example, which I call, I'm in jail and I need gift cards. So scammers, if they're going to use these AI voice clones, they first collect samples of someone's voice. And they don't need much, just a few words here and there. And the best way to get a hold of these is all our oversharing these days with videos of us on social media. You know, we're doing a TikTok about, I don't know, what do young people do TikToks about? Pouring ice on their head or something. But you're talking through it, and you can just grab that voice. Then, once you have a sample of that, you can build a somewhat convincing AI model. In this scenario, you'll get a phone call, and it might actually look like it's coming from someone you know. Phone numbers, unfortunately, can be spoofed, so they're not really coming from that number. So step one in fooling you is making it seem like it's coming from someone you know. So on the phone, you have a relative or a friend, often like a grandchild. They're all over social media, so their voices are easily collected, right? Now, expressing urgency on the phone, this relative of yours gets right to the point. I need money. I went to Mexico. Don't tell mom. Oh my gosh. And I got arrested for mooning somebody. And they're going to put me in a deep, dark dungeon unless I can pay my bail. And I need some gift cards or something so I can do that. Or you need to wire transfer some money. Now, these cloned voices, if you've ever heard the latest and greatest AI voices, they're pretty impressive at first. But if you had them read a news article to you or something, eventually they'd run into something that they can't handle right. Some very confidently said bizarre pronunciation of something, or just some little clue will get you in the uncanny valley, right? And you'll recognize that's not a person.
Dear grandparent, I have been arrested in a foreign country. Boy, do I need some gift cards or perhaps some cryptocurrency. I sound perfectly normal, right?
These cloned voices won't really stand up to a whole lot of scrutiny. So you might hear this fake voice just used a little bit, right? Before, say, a police officer or some other person comes on the phone and says, yes, we need these gift cards right away. Now, why so often with gift cards? What a bizarre way for paying for anything. Why would we need gift cards to get someone out of jail or pay some fine so that you're not arrested or any variation on that? Gift cards are kind of the scammer's best friend. They're really hard to trace once they're bought and activated and spent by someone else. They're easy things to resell, again, because they have just inherent value in their face and very little ability to track where they're coming from. So on these dark web markets, you can easily unload them on someone else. And they're nearly impossible to refund. It's very difficult to trace the trail back and get money from the retailer. Now, no legitimate organization, the IRS, not even prisons in Mexico, will require or take or have any infrastructure to support payment in gift cards, in like Apple Music gift cards or gift cards to Chili's so you can get your bloomin' onions. Or was that an Outback? Anyway, also gift cards should not be any sort of intermediate step in any legitimate process. There's often these very bizarre stories they'll spin out about how you have to get gift cards and, oh, we're going to mail you a check, but you send us a wire transfer or something like that for part of it. And it sounds good to you because you make a little bit of a profit out of the deal. But if you think about it, why? What is this bizarre back and forth step, right? Wire transfers and cryptocurrency are also kind of partners in crime of these gift cards because similarly, very hard to undo once that happens. So gift cards should only be just for that, gift cards. And if you hear about we need a wire transfer or cryptocurrency and any of that disgusting tech bro play money, run, get away from this. This is a very strong clue that you are dealing with a scammer. So how do we resist this kind of scam, this and others, where someone might be impersonating someone else? And it doesn't need to be super high tech. In the class, when I taught this, someone mentioned that they or their relative had gotten a call, and the supposed grandchild had been in a car accident and hit his nose on the steering wheel. So that's why he doesn't quite sound like the way he normally does. You don't even need technology there. That's just classic performance. That's still out there. So scammers might fake these voices, but they can only know so much, just kind of things they might scrape from social media. And it's unlikely they've done a really, really deep dive into making a profile of this person. So a really good way of fighting against this is to establish a safe phrase or a secret word that's known to you and your family only. But everyone knows it. And if there's a real situation where people are in trouble or any suggestion of this might not be the person I'm talking to, ask them for the safe phrase, "The goose honks at midnight," or "tomato paste." Like, it's just something that everyone knows and not something too obvious, right? Like, what's the name of the dog? Well, it's probably given away on social media. Something weird, like tomato paste. Now, another way you can deal with this scam, it may seem like you need to act right away. That is one of the pillars of scam work. Keep people knocked backwards, off balance, on the back foot. This has to happen now. Don't think. Do what I'm telling you right now. You need to hear that and do some Newtonian physics, an equal and opposite reaction. When there is a huge sense of urgency, that is your clue to stop and really think about it. So try contacting this family member in other ways, through your friends or other family, other people who would have a connection to this person. If you're the grandfather, even if your grandchild is in Mexico and really doesn't want the parent to know, contact the parent, who will probably tell you, no, he's right here. He's playing video games and eating Cheerios. And then you know, aha, I've been the victim of an attempted scam. But only attempted because you figured it out. All right, now if you're talking to a company or organization, supposedly, no Mexican jails involved, these companies and organizations will not ever ask for your passwords or PINs or things like that over the phone. They do not need those to access your accounts and help you out, anything like that. They have their own back-end tools. They do not need your login information. And there's a little modern spin on this. One-time passcodes. In our modern, wonderful world, we have all these accounts, and we log into them, and then we get multi-factor authentication prompts. That is, when you get a text on your phone that you've set up, and you enter that number that they texted to you as a second step to log in. Multi-factor authentication means there's something you know, your password, and something you have, in this case, your phone, which gets these text messages, or you have an email where you get a similar thing, or you might have a little physical dongle or an authenticator app on your phone. Whatever's going on, it's something you know and something you have. Now, even if a scammer gets hold of something you know, your password, and those get leaked all the times, or it might be that you reuse one and it's very easy to guess, or they get a hold of one password and try it on other sites. So they may have what you know. They don't have what you have, but this is their way of getting it. In this whole dialogue you're having with, say, the Microsoft tech support person, they'll say, now, please log into this site that I'm going to tell you, like I tell you where to go, and you log into that site. You will get a code on your phone, and I just need to know that code. Read it to me. What's really going on here? They are attempting to log in with your account to this service, and if you hand over the code, then they get that too. So these one-time passcodes, don't ever give those to anyone. They are just for you, just on that device, to prove it's something you have as well as something you know. Now, there are examples where you will get some remote assistance with some program that will let someone else control your screen and do things. But this should never be something that the other party initiates, and only do this in cases of extreme trust, because that is a lot of vulnerability that you are opening up. So just don't ever have that idea come from someone else. These are some good ways we can resist some of these vishing schemes. With all the excitement of AI, voice clones, and vishing, let's not forget the classic, phishing. We all get these emails, and let's look at them and try to pick out what we can do to recognize and resist. So phishing emails, the whole point of these is to fool you into following a link inside the email to, say, a fraudulent page that looks like maybe it's your bank or whatever, and then you log into it thinking that you need to correct some terrible situation. Well, instead, you just gave your login and password to a site controlled by the attacker. You just gave the game away, buddy. So let's arm ourselves. Look at some red flags in these typical emails and things that will give us pause before we do something foolish. This is from Security Bank, accounts.securitybank@gmail.com. Your bank, even if you do business with Security Bank, will not have a Gmail address or an address at any other email provider. It'll be at their domain, right? So at securitybank.com, a real domain where that they really control, where their real website is and all their email system and that sort of thing. Also be on the lookout for the username part. This is accounts.securitybank. There can be some tomfoolery going on in the usernames also. There might be a hyphen or several words that make you feel that, yeah, sure, it's the bank, Security Bank hyphen fraud prevention @gmail.com or at some address you don't recognize. That's a red flag. This is sus, as the kids say. Now, the subject of this email, action required. That instills a sense of urgency, which is one of their key weapons, because you're not thinking when you're reacting. So this could be either the carrot, you've won $400 zillion, if only you act right now. Or it could be the stick, you're about to be arrested, or you've had your account drained. Quickly log in and we'll resolve this situation. All right, next up. Dear valued customer. So it's a generic greeting. They clearly don't have your name to plug in here into an automated email, and Security Bank would, wouldn't it? Now, each one of these that we're going to look at in itself is not necessarily a singular clue that this is a phishing email. We're looking for kind of a accumulation of odd little details. So let's read this paragraph here. You are required to update your account information immediately to prevent account termination. Please follow link to update password information and verify your email address. Now, not always, and we all make little goofs from time to time, but an actual email from a big old bank or corporation, they're going to proofread that. And if they write you an email, it'll be written by someone who's proficient in the language they are writing in. So if you see a lot of just weirdness, grammar-wise, spelling-wise, a tone of communication that does not sound either like a button-down corporation or those corporations who like to have a little fun and are a little more informal. But when things like a little weird like this, that's another good clue. All right, here we get to the meat of it. They want you to follow this link to update your password information and verify your email address. securitybank.net/info. Sure, that looks decent. Okay, sure. Might even be a button like with the logo of the bank, or they can easily get that. So it may look legitimate. Something you might do is hover your mouse over it like this person has, and that'll pop up. Where does this link actually go? Because the text that they write does not have to be where the link really goes. So that discloses here that it's going to malware.com/hack.php. I'm going to say we don't want to go to that website. And if it's something different than the URL they give, or if it's anything that is not at the domain it's supposedly coming from, that would be securitybank.net, that's a red flag. It looks like one more red flag. Please be sure to read the updated privacy policies in the attached document. And there's a PDF, supposedly, the portable document format, attached. One, that is not how an email like this would distribute information, not with an attachment. That's more personal. Another thing is that attachment there, that's not actually a PDF. Look at the very end of the file name, .exe. The extensions, the stuff after the dot, tells Windows, particularly, what kind of file this is and what to do with it. That's not a PDF. EXE is short for executable or executable. It's kind of a GIF/GIF debate about that. But that is a file that will run and do something. And I bet you what it does is install malware onto your system. Do not download that. Do not double-click on it. Have nothing to do with this email. It's full of red flags. There's got more red flags than a Chinese military parade. How about that? Enough of fish. Enough of fish. Let's talk about Smish. Now, Smish is very similar to fish. And that's, again, phishing plus SMS, short message service. Those are text messages, as we call them. So the goal here is exactly the same as that email phishing. They want you to start clicking links and falling for fake sites, and they want to grab your personal and payment information, anything they can get. Here's one from Gary from T-Mobile. T-Mobile might be your cell phone carrier, so you think, oh it's T-Mobile, it's official. You have been chosen as one of the lucky T-Mobile users that qualified for the ongoing giveaway of the sum of $1,500. But $1,500 what? Dollars? Donuts? Lira? Drachmas? Sesterces? Pounds sterling? Bird feathers? See, that's weird. Who would say that? A code will be sent to you shortly from T-Mobile. Kindly send back the code here to claim your $1,500. Of whatever. Before you receive the code, kindly reply yes to proceed. Thanks. Okay. All right, let's work backwards here. Before you receive the code, kindly reply yes. This is like when a fish nibbles a bait and you get a little indication on the fishing rod and you give it a little jerk and set the hook. And then the fish is going to get reeled in. You see what I'm saying here? So you reply yes, and they know, aha, we got a live one here. We got a live one here, Susie. And then the scam proceeds. Let's go backwards a little bit. A code will be sent to you shortly from T-Mobile. Do you remember when I said that this is exactly what they will try? You will get this code that you give to them, supposedly, and then they get to get into your account. Don't do it. Don't send them this code. Why on earth would they need such a weird thing to go on? They don't. It's a lie. It's a scam. Let's look at this other one. Particularly around the holidays, this happens a lot, but it's great all the time. We're all buying things online, right? And we all have packages we want to get, right? So you get some weird message like this. The USPS package arrived at the warehouse but could not be delivered due to incomplete address information. Please confirm your address in the link. You will see these a lot. USPS, UPS, I don't know, whatever. So they give you a link to follow, right? Their link. The USPS team wishes you a wonderful day. Well, I'm sure the USPS does wish me a wonderful day, but wait a minute. How come the USPS wouldn't have complete address information and then contact us about it rather than the sender? Why would they just text us out of the blue? Now, I do personally use their email advance warning of what's coming to you in the mail so I can get a little preview of all the pointless junk mail and know when packages are arriving. But that's a very different thing, and it's not enticing me to follow some link, That is a smish. Let's review what's in common with all these scams. One, that sense of urgency. They want you to stop thinking and just do what they're telling you to do. So it'll be a carrot or a stick or some kind of way to get you to immediately react. You may see big dollar figures, right? And that's either you've won a whole lot or you owe a whole lot. Those big, shocking, alarming figures will override your sensibility. That and the sense of urgency, that's how they're going to get you. So now there will be a call to action. Click this link. Give us the code, something, something, something. Get a bunch of gift cards to send to us, that sort of thing. They will be trying to keep you in a tunnel. What do I mean by that? They want you only to communicate with them, because then they're in control. You are following their links. You are believing their version of your grandson who's in prison in Mexico. You are not actually verifying anything in the outside world. All these work together to try and hold your attention and fool you. We don't want this. What can we do about it? Here are some consistent strategies you can use. And let's keep it simple, because this will apply to all kinds of scamming. Again, you see a sense of urgency, that should set off your alarm bells. Sense of urgency equals your sense of, whoa, let's slow down and examine this. Anytime you get misspellings, grammar errors, or just weird tone in the conversation, that should also raise your suspicions. Do not trust links in emails and messages. When they say, log in here, please don't. What can you do instead? Reach out by official means. Instead of clicking on the link to yourbank.com, get your internet browser open and actually go to yourbank.com, the real yourbank.com. Log in, see if any of these things that supposedly have happened, your account's been drained or whatever, see if it's going on. Or don't just log in. Call the bank, not with any number they give you, but an actual number you look up from a trusted source. Or go and talk to someone at your local branch. Go by official means, not anything in this email, this text, anything they tell you on the phone. If there's any mention of gift cards, bail out of that conversation. Get out. There's no legitimate reason they'd be involved. And remember, unsolicited tech support for you, that's just not a thing. We've all struggled with trying to get it. It is not just coming to our door. Now, even with all this knowledge, you might still be scammed. Scammers are good at what they do. They focus on developing better ways to scam people. Please don't feel like you're dumb or a sucker or you fell for it. This is what these people practice, get excellent at, and do as their career, try to steal from others. You are not bad, you are not dumb, you are not a fool if you fall for this. It is their fault, not yours. Okay, if you've been scammed, alert law enforcement. Your local police would like to know about these. Call their non-emergency numbers and let them know. And there's a place to report fraud at the Federal Trade Commission. There's the actual real address you go to. You can tell because it's a .gov domain. Those are not easy to come by. You have to be a government entity. But at the Federal Trade Commission, you can report this activity. Personally, what do you need to do? Freeze your credit and change your passwords. Anything that you have given up, any of this information, we need to lock it down. So change your passwords to all your accounts, particularly all your important ones, your email, your banks, that sort of thing. And freeze your credit, because once they get enough information on you, they will open new lines of credit or fraudulently make big purchases in your name. Now, we all love capitalism, but unfortunately, I have to tell you, there are 3 separate credit bureaus who control your credit reputation in a very unfair and weird system. But here we are. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion are the biggies. Here are their real contact numbers. I guess you can't click on those links, but look for these 3. Lock your credit down with each of them. Make sure you don't suffer with someone else's impersonation. That will be all for today. Thank you for paying attention, if you made it this far in the video. I am, again, Franklin Walther, the Digital Services Librarian here at the Mill Valley Library. And please, quick, send some gift cards. I'm in jail in Nigeria, and you can send those gift cards or any further questions about this sort of thing to fwalther@cityofmillvalley.org. That's me. Thank you again. Get out there and don't get scammed.